The Phoenix Suns introduced Mike Budenholzer as their new head coach today, and there was a lot to take from his introductory press conference. I'm Gerald Bourguet, and this is Solar Flares coming to you from the Footprint Center with a quick recap of Bud's intro presser. It was really cool to see him introduced by Al McCoy, someone that he grew up listening to on the radio. Obviously, Mike Budenholzer is a native of Holbrook, Arizona, who grew up idolizing the Suns and now gets to be their head coach. I asked him right off the top what this moment meant to him as someone from the Valley, and here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I didn't know Al McCoy was going to be here today, so I'm going to circle back to Al McCoy and maybe do some names and history. But I think the biggest message I want you to hear, and like, I would coach this team if it was on the moon. I would coach this team if it was in Alaska, if these players were in Denmark, these owners and front office. I would go anywhere to coach this team. That's the most important thing for me. I'm excited about the roster. I'm excited about everything. So at the same time, yeah, it's amazing. I don't know what the word is, surreal or wild, and to have Al kind of introduce me and to think about, Alvin Adams at the Elbows AA and Sweet D and Paul Westphal, my dad taking me in the backyard and teaching me Paul Westphal reverse pivot into a pump fake to a step through. I mean, I could go on. I'm probably in the wrong room to do Suns trivia, but in other states in the country, I'd probably do okay. So yeah, I'm beyond excited about this opportunity, but it's mostly about the players. It's about the organization. It's about the team. And I can't wait to get to work.
Now, in terms of this team's identity, obviously they have a big three that likes to operate in the mid-range. Mike Budenholzer's teams have historically ranked in the top 10 in three-point attempts per game. The Suns were 25th in that category last year. But he views it as not taking away from their games. He doesn't want to take away from what the big three of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal are able to do in their comfort zones. But he did mention that getting up more threes will be part of their philosophy moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be, philosophical approaches to how we practice every day, how important shooting threes is, and the spacing and all the value and all the things that come from being a high volume three-point team. I'm going to work with the whole group to help them embrace it, understand why it's important to us. And, when I think about, Kevin and Devin, being two of the greatest, maybe all time, certainly this generation. And as we talk about today's NBA in the mid-range, I think of it as just adding to what they do. They're so talented. They are so good at everything they do. I don't want to take away from anything that they do. I want to add to what they do. I want to make them better. I want to push them to be their best and what's best for our team, and to get all of us to understand, how do we win? And there's no doubt that these guys will know. I think threes are a part of it, but we're going to do it from day one. We're going to do it starting in the gym probably on Monday, training camp all throughout the summer. But the whole team, it's going to be important. But, and including Brad, all those guys, they're incredible players. I just want to add to what they do. That's my mentality, is to push them and to make them their best selves, and for us to have our best team.
Now, to add on to the identity side of things, compete was a big word that was thrown around quite a bit there. Mike Budenholzer feels confident that this Suns team's identity will be in competing more than we saw maybe last season. James Jones admitted that was something in their interview with Bud that attracted them to him as a candidate to replace Frank Vogel. Last year, obviously, the Suns didn't always have the requisite fight, especially in that playoff series where they got swept in the first round of the playoffs. I was able to ask James Jones about their decision-making, what went into letting Frank Vogel go, and what attracted them to Budenholzer as his replacement.
I mean, we needed to improve in a lot of areas. There wasn't one specific area, but I say by and large, we just felt the timing to shift was right, and we moved quickly to Bud just because when we look at our roster and what our roster needs, he fits it, right? I'm a competitive guy, and we talk about this too throughout that process. Bud must have said compete 95 times in 2 minutes. But compete at everything, compete in practice, compete with each other, against each other, compete against your opponent, but more importantly, compete with yourself. And I thought that was an area of our team where we could be better, because there were bouts where we didn't reach our potential. A lot of that was just the inconsistency and our competitive nature. And so that's something we wanted to rectify, and I believe we're getting it right.
For more in-depth thoughts on Mike Budenholzer's introductory press conference, make sure to check out my words later today at gophnx.com.